this, leave that to me at another time.
Okay.
Let's talk about each foot strike. So we've got one left and one right.
Yes.
So you're up at 93.2 newtons per square centimetre now as your highest level. And so we don't want too much red on the foot, and we're looking, there's quite a lot of red, yeah, more than we'd probably normally see. The pink lines now are how much external rotation or internal rotation, or how neutral your foot stance is when you're walking forwards. And so we can look for a bigger triangle and a smaller triangle, and we know you've got slightly more, I mean, you can see that from your eye, we've got slightly more external rotation in that right foot. Yeah? Whether that correlates across all of the foot strikes you took is something else to be looked at. So this pink line becomes your neutral line through the centre of your foot, and the white dotted line shows us the path that your, if you like, the weight shift of your foot takes. So we've spoken about supination and pronation. So anything on the outside of that pink line is deemed to be supination in varying degrees, everything on the inside is deemed to be pronation.
Right.
So both of your feet start in pronation. Normally most people start a little bit of supination. Very quickly out to supination and back across the pronation at the end, which is normal. The number of dots in a small space tells us that you're moving a little bit slower. Big spaces between the dots tell us that you're moving a bit faster. So I can take this right heel lifts off very quickly. This one's slightly more controlled. So if I play this through, for now, just looking at the speed at which the right heel lifts off, the pause around the metatarsals help both feet catch up. We cross over into a pronation, and then we shoot off that big toe quickly. So we've got two areas where it moves faster, which is why the right foot's only 590 milliseconds as opposed to another 50 or so on the left. Yeah? There's a number of things that we should point out here. One is you're so supinated on your left foot that you actually don't touch with the middle part of your foot. Here you do. Yeah? That pauses over here, this dot's still moving across. This one pauses, and now we've got a bit of a shoot across here. I want you to watch that dot as it crosses this junction of the big toe. And what we want is before that white dot crosses here, we want there to effectively, a bit like this toe, there to be space between the toe pad and the toes. Right. That's probably a little bit quick to find out if that did happen. Right, it just happens. So that, if that doesn't happen, it tells me you've got quite a rigid big toe. So you're on the cusp, you're getting a slightly rigid big toe there. Let's see what happens on this side. I'll try and be a bit quicker with the mouse. Just again. Yeah? So just on the cusp. It's fine, just on the cusp. We're still not getting a lot of toe action from the little toes, are we? Yeah? It shows us quite a pronated foot stance, and you're loading that second toe up before your big toe.
Right.
There's quite a lot of stuff for us to work on there, because really we want you to be in a little bit of supination in your rear foot. We probably want to slow down this heel lift. That sounds to me like there's quite a tight calf there.
Yes.
Or maybe this one's a little bit lazy. Some just yardstick things, we've got a lot of stuff to work on. Now, let's look at the pressure map. So here we can play through what's happening in terms of the pressure on your foot. I can tell you this is quite a high number, and I can tell you there's a lot of red. Yeah? So as we go through, let's just slow it down a little bit. Quite a big hit on the heel.
Yeah.
Then you come through onto just before your metatarsals, really here. Lots of pressure there. Head a fifth too much. That second toe's loading, whereas we're slightly more evenly distributed. But as we distribute to the toes, we're peaking here all the time. Those metatarsal heads are really taking quite a bashing. And then the big toe does a little bit on this side, not so much on that side. So the brunt of all the weight is through your heel and the metatarsal heads.
Yeah.
You're not really sharing the load equally. The little toe doesn't have very much to do with anything.
No.
Yeah, people say you lose your balance if you lose your little toe. Well, you're not using it at all in anything, standing. We might see you use it in running. Yeah? But it gives you an idea.
Yes.
Now, I'm just going to scoot over these next things, so I want to show you the level of detail that we go into. Yeah? So, for every single part of your foot strike, every single part of your foot, we've got sensors in terms of the probes. And so, for example, if I look at your lateral heel and your medial heel,
Yes.
which are the pink line and the blue line, I'm looking for differences between your right foot and your left foot. Now, you don't need to be a trained physio to see that we've got a tabletop here
Yeah.
and a curve there.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we look at your fifth metatarsal, right, which is over here, this
Yes.
colour, so the end of the part of your foot that corresponds to the little toe, we're looking at this orange line here
Yeah.
versus where that orange line is on this side,
Mhm.
how much further there's pressure on that left side compared to the right, which we showed in the previous video.
Yeah.
And we're looking across everywhere for these differences. Look at the high peak of toe 1 on the right foot versus the low peak of toe 1 on the left foot. What I'm telling you is I'll be going through in a lot of detail, looking
Mhm.
at the pressure through each zone, each line in turn. How does that correlate to the load rate versus what we're seeing on the probes, right down to what is your actual footprint size, or if we wanted to look at, for example, the red area on the left foot versus the right foot, see how much cushioning perhaps we needed. We can see that 6.4 centimetres on the left and 8.6 on the right, so we know we've got a bigger problem there
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
versus the overall centimetre length, so we've got a slightly longer left foot than we do right foot. We've got a longer time spent in contact with the ground.
Okay.
There's lots and
Huge
lots of
detail, yeah,
things,
Yeah.
but you can see the level of detail we go to make sure that we get something that works for you when you're standing, walking and running.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Great.
No feet hanging off the edge of the couch here. Yeah?
Yeah.
So if it's all right with you, we'll move to the second part of the test,
Okay.
which